Guys. Appreciate you guys joining me as always. I'm with you here a little bit later than I usually get with you. Had a busy night and I just got home. Got the Nuggets game turned on to my right here, so I'm paying attention to the Nuggets and Milwaukee game. We'll see how that goes. But I did want to take just a few minutes to touch base with you guys about what just happened out there in New York with the Giants. Russ Wilson signed for a 1-year, $21 million deal. They guaranteed $10.5 million of that. I would say, all things considered, for Russell Wilson, that was actually a pretty healthy signing. So what does that mean for Shedeur Sanders? Are the Giants still interested in Shedeur? Will he slide? Is he going higher? We'll break all that down. But before I get into it, as always, have to take a quick second here to thank my title sponsor, Safeway. I could not do Mount Polumbus Peaks without Safeway. They are the title sponsor. Been working with them now for, 6, 7, 8 years in charitable efforts and in business efforts, and I'm so grateful to them. If you don't have the Safeway app, make sure you download it today. Because I'm telling you, you're missing out if you're not ordering directly on the Safeway app. They are going to save you time. They're going to save you money. All you got to do is open up the app, order online. I save my order. I just add 4 or 5 things every single week. Literally takes me 5 minutes. Safeway takes care of the rest. Before I know it, it gets delivered to my door. You're going to save a whole bunch of money. You get to redeem points that you get to save for money down the road. And I'm telling you, you're going to save a whole lot of money in comparison to the other delivery service apps, which is why you want to order directly on the Safeway app so that you can redeem all those points for very significant discounts. So download Safeway app, Safeway fresh foods, local flavors. Okay. So the news of the day, and again, I am keeping my eye on the Nuggets game. They are up 78-72 at this moment at the timing of this podcast, about halfway through the third quarter. And Jokic just had the sickest no-look pass to Aaron Gordon of the season. The news of the day, though, is that Russell Wilson signed with the New York Giants. I'm fascinated by this move for a number of reasons. Look, it was just like 2 days ago that Deion Sanders said that they were hoping for the Giants to select Shedeur. And believe me, if Deion said that, he's not saying that unless he feels like there are very good indicators that the New York Giants are interested in Shedeur Sanders at number 3. If you missed it before the Giants signed Russell Wilson, they picked up Jameis Winston on a 2-year, $8 million deal. So now the Giants have brought in Jameis Winston. They brought in Russell Wilson. Jameis got clearly a backup quarterback salary, 2-year, $8 million deal, although Jameis just continues to collect $4 or $5 million a year. Good for him. He's figured out the system. The deal that they gave to Russ, though, that was kind of eye-popping. Russ was more or less out of options. And everybody been waiting on Aaron Rodgers to land. Where's Aaron Rodgers going to land? It appears that it's down to the Steelers. I don't know if the Giants were legitimately interested in him or not, but they ran out of patience if they were interested. Now the signing with Russ, it shocked me. I did not see it coming because I absolutely thought that the Giants were going to select Shedeur Sanders. So the question now that the Giants have brought in Jameis Winston, they brought in Russell Wilson, what does that mean for Shedeur? If you look at the mock drafts of late, NFL Mock Draft Database is a really good website you can go to. They're just an aggregator. They aggregate every single mock draft in the world. And if you just scroll through the front page of NFL Mock Draft Database.com, look at the first 15 mock drafts. And as of yesterday, you were going to see about 12 of those had Shedeur going, well, maybe not 12. Let's call it 8. Had Shedeur Sanders going number 3 to the Giants. The other 4 or 5 had Shedeur Sanders going number 2 overall to the Cleveland Browns. I'm not saying that because Russ is there that the Giants are out on Shedeur at number 3, but I will say this. It's not about the money that's committed. I'll break that down in a second. It's just the personalities. That is a crowded quarterback room. If you bring in Shedeur Sanders with Russell Wilson, with Jameis Winston, that is a lot of personality in one quarterback room. And the amount of money that they gave to Jameis, that they gave to Russell Wilson, they guaranteed Russ $10.5 million. That's enough to guarantee him a spot on the football team. Maybe they could cut Jameis Winston if they ended up selecting Shedeur Sanders. I actually thought that Jameis Winston would have been the world's most perfect backup quarterback for Shedeur. Because if you think about it for a second, Shedeur's going to walk in that room with the biggest personality in the room. He's going to carry an aura. He's going to carry a confidence, maybe a cockiness. Some might call it arrogance, that is going to just take up that quarterback room. And it's going to take a very confident veteran backup QB to be a true mentor to Shedeur Sanders, because a lot of vets that are in year 3, year 4, they're just going to get swallowed up by Shedeur Sanders' personality. Jameis Winston is the perfect backup quarterback to mentor Shedeur Sanders. So when they signed him, I was like, hell yeah. That's great for Shedeur. I don't know that the Giants are actually the best schematic fit for Shedeur. The best schematic fit would be the Raiders with Chip Kelly as his offensive coordinator. That would be an incredible schematic fit for Shedeur. But if you were to ask me today, I guess my gut would tell me I think the Giants are out. I think they're out on Shedeur. Would I be entirely shocked if they still selected him at number 3? No, I wouldn't. I think anything could happen. And if you think about the money that's committed to Russ, that's committed to Jameis Winston, well, they got about $15 million committed to the two of them this year. If Russ makes his full salary, which is about $21 million, then they got $25 million committed to those two guys. Well, a starting quarterback in the NFL these days is making over $50 million per year. So in the big picture, financially, the Giants don't have that much money actually committed to the two quarterbacks that are on their team. So financially, it's not prohibitive for them to still select Shedeur Sanders. And maybe they just want competition. Maybe they just want to bring in Russ in case they can't select Shedeur Sanders. I think the real question is, why did the Giants do it? Did the Giants do it because they don't like Shedeur Sanders, or did the Giants do it because they are just convinced that at number 2, the Cleveland Browns are going to select Shedeur, and they just don't feel like they have a fighting chance at him, so they're like, hey, we better sign Russ while we can right now just in case? I think it would probably be that they just are convinced that the Browns are going to select Shedeur. There's just been so much momentum for the New York Giants and Shedeur Sanders. There's been so much news. Deion Sanders is talking about it. At one point, Shedeur Sanders shows up to the bowl game wearing New York Giants cleats. I mean, they've been connected left, right, and center for a very long time now. And I just refuse to believe that the Giants just changed their mind, that all of a sudden they went from highly interested in Shedeur to being out on him. I think they signed Russell Wilson because they just don't think that they're going to have a chance at selecting Shedeur Sanders. It's interesting, though, man. I mean, we could play this big game of what if, right? What if? What if the Tennessee Titans select Cam Ward at number 1, which is very, very likely? Okay, that could probably happen. Now, what if with the Cleveland Browns? First off, let me be clear. The Cleveland Browns would be idiots to not select a quarterback this year. They would be absolute morons to not select a quarterback. I don't care how good Abdul Carter is. We all know how good Travis Hunter is. The value of the quarterback position, if you can get a dude there, is just so far superior to any other position. And Deshaun Watson's got that Achilles. Deshaun Watson sucks at football, and Deshaun Watson's not a great person. They should be selecting a quarterback. I mean, they would be freaking insane to not select a quarterback. But a lot of mock drafts out there have got the Cleveland Browns selecting Abdul Carter at number 2. Some, not very many, have got the Cleveland Browns selecting Travis Hunter at number 2. And a lot of mock drafts do have the Cleveland Browns doing exactly what I think they should do, what any sane human being would do that's running that football team. They would say, hey, Deshaun Watson's out with an Achilles. Hey, we don't have a quarterback on this football team. Hey, we got to draft a damn quarterback. Which is selecting Shedeur Sanders. So there are plenty of mock drafts that do have the Cleveland Browns selecting Shedeur Sanders. We had Adam Schefter on my show, PhD, Polumbus, Hastings, and DMAC over on Altitude 92.5, 12 to 3. Check it out. We're doing really, really well. Ratings just came out, and they were fantastic, so appreciate all you guys that are listening to the show. We had Adam on the show, And I asked him his opinion on the Cleveland Browns. And what he said was that one of the things that he is most confident about in this year's NFL draft is that the Cleveland Browns will be selecting a quarterback. Now, he did not go as far as saying the Cleveland Browns will be selecting a quarterback at number 2, so I guess in theory he left himself a little bit of leeway there, but I certainly felt like it was implied that the Browns are going to take a quarterback at number 2. And hey, if Adam Schefter says something, quite frankly, I take that as gold. So just doing all the math, following the breadcrumbs, if you're listening to the drum beats, follow the drum beats, it's going to lead you to, it sure feels like common sense would lead to the fact that Shedeur Sanders is going to be a Cleveland Brown, which that sucks, man. I don't want him to go to the Cleveland Browns. We all know that it's a deathbed. It's a death sentence for quarterbacks that get drafted in Cleveland. It's a terrible franchise, and I'd be bummed out for Shedeur that he went number 2. I'd rather see him go number 6 to the Las Vegas Raiders. I'd rather see him even go to the New York Giants. Not that I think the Giants are a very good organization. They're not. They do a lot of dumb things. D-Mac came up with the phrase today, DTF, and it's not what you think. It's just doing – sorry, I was watching the Nuggets games over there. It's just a dumb franchise. It's just a dumb franchise. Nuggets game's getting a little bit closer, 90-88. Keeping an eye on that, although Christian Brown's hustling. It's just dumb franchises. That's what they are. That is who the New York Giants are. That's who the Cleveland Browns are. And what Shedeur should really be hoping, and here's the game of what if, right? What if the Titans take Cam Ward at number 1? What if the Cleveland Browns take Abdul Carter at number 2? Now, what if the New York Giants are just actually out on Shedeur Sanders? And that's why they just signed Russell Wilson yesterday to a 1-year, $21 million deal. So what if the top 3 picks go and it goes Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter to the New York Giants? Well, if you're Travis Hunter, first off, you should be crossing your fingers and hoping and praying you slip past number 3 to number 4. Travis Hunter should pray that he goes number 4 overall to the to the New England Patriots. That's a great situation for Travis Hunter. Goes into a great coach with Mike Vrabel. Goes in with a really good young quarterback in Drake May. It's going to be stable. It's going to be healthy. Those other teams that if he gets drafted ahead, if the Browns select him, they don't have a quarterback. If the Giants select him, well, he's going to the New York Giants. Travis Hunter should be praying that he goes to the New England Patriots at number 4. So here's the what if. Cam Ward at number 1. Abdul Carter at number 2, Shedeur Sanders at number 3, Travis Hunter at number 4. Well, now it gets interesting. Could you actually look at a Shedeur Sanders slide? And let me be very clear here, I am not predicting this. I think Shedeur Sanders is going to go in the top 3. However, if you get past number 4 and Travis Hunter goes to the Patriots, well, now you got the Jags. They're at number 5. Now, everybody seems to think that it's just a guarantee that the Raiders would select Shedeur Sanders. And yes, I do think it would be an incredible schematic fit. I think it would be the best schematic fit Shedeur Sanders could ask for. Chip Kelly, a guy that's run simple college offenses at a very high level in the NFL. And I'm not saying it needs to be simple for Shedeur because I think he's a very smart quarterback. I just think that Chip Kelly would design an offense that Shedeur Sanders would be very, very effective in. Well, now the Jags aren't selecting him. And at number 6, listen, Pete Carroll likes Geno Smith. Don't get it twisted. Pete Carroll 100% thinks that Geno Smith is a franchise quarterback. He had a lot of success with him out there in Seattle. He made the trade for him. There's talks that Geno Smith is in negotiations with the Raiders right now on a monster deal where he might make even up to $40+ million per year. Pete Carroll believes he's got a franchise quarterback on that team. So everybody just assumes that the Raiders are going to pick Shedeur Sanders. I wouldn't assume that. I mean, I think the Raiders are going to try to compete. Pete Carroll is the oldest coach in the NFL. If he feels like he's got a quarterback on his team right now in Geno Smith, why does he need to develop a QB? Why does he need to draft Shedeur Sanders? I think the Raiders would select Ashton Genty. I do. Even if Shedeur Sanders is on the board, I actually think the Raiders would select Ashton Genty because I think Pete Carroll believes in Geno Smith. Just plain and simple. He believes in the dude. And if you want to look at the numbers, quite frankly, Geno Smith is a pretty damn good quarterback. He's had some tremendous numbers over the last few years. So then you're at 6. I think if you got to 6, there's no way in hell Shedeur gets past number 7. Number 7 to the Jets. Nobody's talked about the Jets selecting Shedeur Sanders because it's just not likely that he's going to fall that far. But if he falls to number 7, I do believe the Jets would sweep him up. Okay, what if? What if they don't select him? What if the Jets do just dumb franchise things also? And they select Tet McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. The last stopgap for Shedeur Sanders, and I find it impossible to believe that he would get past this, would be number 9 to the New Orleans Saints. I mean, you're telling me Shedeur is going to get bypassed by, let's count them up. How many quarterback-hungry teams? Tennessee Titans. All right, well, that could happen because they could select Cam Ward. Cleveland Browns, New York Giants, Las Vegas Raiders, New York Jets, and New Orleans Saints. You're telling me 6 quarterback-hungry teams in the top 10 are going to pass on Shedeur Sanders? I don't see it. But then the all hell breaks loose scenario, and again, I can't envision this, but all hell breaks loose, and the New Orleans Saints are like, yeah, we don't like Shedeur. We don't like his personality, whatever. We think he's cocky. We think he's arrogant. They pass on him. Then you could see a decent fall for him, and 21 to the Pittsburgh Steelers would probably be the landing spot. James Vanderbeek says someone posted the idea that the Raiders may be looking at Mason Graham. Dang it, I'm sorry, your comment just fell off before I read it. Apologize, I should have got to that earlier. Send it in again if you want. I'll try to read it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about Mason Graham. Maybe. But I do believe this. Pete Carroll's going to try to compete right now. And I do believe he thinks he's got his quarterback. So why did the New York Giants pick up Russell Wilson? I think it's because they just don't think they can get him. I think they got some intel. They're picking up, they're sniffing in the wind, and it's smelling like the Cleveland Browns are going to select Shedeur Sanders at number 2. I mean, listen, just use common sense. There's the NFL, Jeff Legwold says this all the time. I'm stealing it from him. There's the NFL draft board, and then there's the quarterback board. So even if the quarterbacks aren't top 2 or 3 talent, quarterbacks are going to go in the top 2 or 3 just because they're quarterbacks. That's it. There's too many hungry teams. And if the top 2 teams aren't interested in selecting quarterback, guess what's probably going to happen? They're probably going to trade out to a team that is quarterback hungry. So I'm not worried for Shedeur. I guess just the only thing that does worry me a little bit is that the Giants think that they can't get him because the Cleveland Browns are going to select him, and I don't want him to get selected by the Cleveland Browns. That would suck for Shedeur Sanders. Maybe he'd be the quarterback that overcomes it all, but generally speaking, that is where quarterbacks go to die. All right, appreciate you guys watching tonight. Again, thank you to Safeway. If you guys are in the Parker area, you guys got to check out Ascend Barbershop. I was just over there today. They just cut off my big beard, and it is a luxury experience. Guys, I've been going over there. There's the only barbershop that I've been to for a very, very long time. I'm talking years and years and years. Alfred Castro is my man. If I don't see Alfred, I'll go see Anthony over there. Once you go to Ascend Barbershop, you will never go to Great Clips or anything like that ever again. You will be a customer for life at Ascend Barbershop. They're in the Parker area. Let them know that Tyler sent you on over. They're going to get you hooked up. They're going to get you taken care of, and you'll become a customer for life. So appreciate you guys watching. I will be back with you guys in a couple days for another Mount Polumbus Speaks. If you have not subscribed to Mount Polumbus Speaks, please take 10 seconds out of your day. If you're watching on Twitter, hit that link in my bio, go over to YouTube and hit subscribe. If you really love me, comment and like on my video on YouTube, and that does wonders for the algorithm. Love you.